grab you something to drink, grab you a snack, and let's get into it.
Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Still not understanding.
Hey babes, welcome back to the channel. This is Life with Chris. I know I've been gone for a minute. A lot been going on. But tonight, I wanted to talk about something kind of personal, but I feel that a lot of women can relate to. It is my journey with having mastitis. Now, for those of you that do not know, mastitis is an infection, a very painful infection in your breast. It can happen to anyone, but it mostly happens to breastfeeding women. And that's when it happened to me. So, grab you something to drink.
Grab you a snack. And let's get into it.
So, I just feel like it's very important that we talk breast. Maybe we don't talk about these type of things enough, because at the time I was really convincing myself that I had cancer. I had breast cancer. Like, I'm going to the doctor. I'm telling the doctor I have a lump on my breast. And I'm like, it must be cancerous. And they're like, does breast cancer run in your family? I'm like, no, but you know, it's the first for everything. Not that I was like hoping it was, but I'm just like, oh my God, I got a lump on my breast. You know, that's automatically what you would think. The worst, I guess. But so I had a lump. This was about, let's say, I stopped breastfeeding after, I stopped pumping and everything after he turned 1. But, I started having symptoms before he turned 1. I just didn't know what it was. I wasn't paying attention to what my body was trying to tell me. So, I remember, like, I felt like I had a bump. Like, it was pain. It wasn't really a bump. It was more like pain under my underarm. Started out as like pain in under my underarm. And I thought I had sprained something, because the job I was working at the time, I would have to do a lot of heavy lifting. So I'm telling my homegirl, I'm like, I think I've sprained something. Like, I don't know. And she like, where it hurt at? I'm like, my underarm. And she cracking jokes and being funny, like, your underarm. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I feel it. Like, when I lift my arm, it just hurts so bad, and it's not normal. So maybe I'm doing too much heavy lifting. So, you know, they laugh, but I'm like, something wrong. So I go tell my manager, I'm like, you know, maybe I just need to take a break from this side. Like, send me. I was working, what job was that? As a sterile processing tech. That's just cleaning the instruments and everything. So, you know, if you've worked in that field, you know there's 2 sides to sterile processing: decon and prep. At the time I was working over in decon, I had to do a hot
Don't looking at it. I'm looking at it.
A lot of heavy lifting the trays, which I would say both sides are like kind of heavy lifting, but not so much on the prep side. It's less work, in my opinion, on the prep side than it is on the decon side, because that's back breaking labor right there. But anyways, I ended up taking off a couple of days from work. I was just sick, and I did not know how to explain it. Like, I started getting a fever. So I ended up quitting the job. I never went back. No, I did. I went back to work. No, I didn't. I ended up quitting that job. Randomly, I just say the symptoms weren't that bad. I got better because I still had milk in my breast. So what it was like a clogged duct in my breast that was causing the infection in my body. So the first time it happened, I really didn't pay any attention to it. And once, I started feeling better, I thought, maybe I just had a really bad cold. But I got pregnant. And I was really, really, really sick. I ended up miscarrying. And after that, my symptoms got way worse. That's when I noticed lumps, actual lumps. So we went from pain in my shoulder, like not my shoulder, in my underarm, to an actual lump on the side of my breast. And I went to the doctor saying, oh, we don't know. They are saying, we don't know what it is. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Like, I should be the one saying I don't know. You're the doctor. You went to school, and they saying, well, we don't know. So after I went in there and I told them that I had a lump on my breast. Why they felt they needed to do an x-ray, a pelvic exam. I'm like, let's look at, like, they did an ultrasound on my breast. So after like 2.5, almost 3 hours of being in the hospital, I'm like talking to the doctor. I'm like, do you have any answers for me? He was like, we actually don't know, because like if you touch it, like I'm like telling him, like, touch it, like it's a lump there, I'm not tripping. He's like, yeah, it is a lump. He asking about my family, asking if there's a history of breast cancer. I'm like, no, there's no history of breast cancer or any kind of cancer that I'm aware of. So he was like, well, it could just be a non-cancerous lump. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? He said, come back if it get worse. So I did not go back. I went home and I Googled and I figured out what it was myself. Now, by the time I did figure it out myself, because I just went down Google. I'm a WebMD scholar. I got my master's in WebMD. So whatever is going on with you and you don't know, come talk to me. I'll figure it out. But I'm on WebMD. I'm like, yup, fever, yup, growth. Now, it had started getting worse by the time I was figuring out, checking all my boxes. It was progressively, like, getting worse. So, the bump went from, like, a bump this big to a bump the size of a grapefruit on the side of my breast. So, it's like almost having a third titty, not gonna lie. It was very traumatic for me. I am very dramatic, but no exaggeration. If YouTube would let me post the footage, the pictures, I definitely will. Like, I remember being at work. This was around the time of COVID. So I was at work because I was just dealing with it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just put like a heating pad on it, a hot compress, a warm compress, just, to make the swelling go down, because it was really starting to hurt. I'm going to work. I was working at a salon. Shout out Kristen at Bear Waxing. I was working at Bear Waxing Center, and this was around the time of COVID, so we have to take our temperature. And this day, I'm telling my baby daddy, like, oh, I don't want to go to work. I don't know, like, I gotta go though. I gotta go because I needed to go to work. I'm like, you know, we got too much going on at work. I need to be at work. I don't need my manager. You know, she always was calling me to fix stuff, and I didn't want to have to fix nobody else work. So I was just like, let me go ahead and go to work, and if I still feel like this, I'll try to do as much as I can and then go home. Man, it took me, I literally laid in the bed until maybe like 2 minutes before I had to go to work. And that was only because I literally stayed 2 lights down from my job, 2 to 3 lights down from my job. So I was like, I could lay in the bed. I got this time. When I got there, I took my temperature. It was like 102. And I was still saying like, oh, I'm not sick. You know, I don't have COVID, y'all. I promise. But, you know, I just feel tired today. My manager was like, no. Go home, go to the hospital. I went to the hospital. When I went, I already told, like, when I was getting wheeled in, I said, look, I think I got mastitis. And the nurse was like, how would you know? I said, I Googled it. I mean, duh. How else would you think I know? I didn't go to school for this, but, you know, she was trying to downplay me, like, you don't know what's wrong with you. That's why you here. Granted, I was there, but I very much did know by then what it was that had me there. So, but it was way out of home remedy range. This was definitely, I need science, I need medicine, I need a team more than just myself at this point. It had got so swollen and I was scared, like it was pus filled. I was scared, and the surgeon, like the doctor came and talked to me. He was like, oh no, we're gonna have to admit you. Like, it got so painful. Like, even if you touched me, I would cry, like I would like cry like I got shot or something. It would hurt that bad. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was like a 13 in pain. Like, they admitted me. The surgeon came and talked to me. I don't remember her name. I think her last name was Gonzalez. I have to look back in my medical records to find her. But shout out to the lady at Capital Regional, because the first hospital I went to was TMH, Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. I used to work there, so after, you know, working somewhere, you just be a little bit iffy when it comes to certain situations. I don't like that ER, so I didn't want to go back to that ER, sit there for another 2.5 hours just for them to tell me they don't know what's wrong with me. So I went to Capital Regional this time, and I'm telling them, like, oh, I think this is what's wrong with me. Granted, the nurse was like, let's just wait for the doctor. But I was right. I was right. But the surgeon came in, and the surgeon was talking. She was like, we're gonna make a small incision, real small, because you have beautiful breasts. We don't want to leave a big scar. I promise we're gonna make a little small incision. You won't even notice. Now, the time, that all sounded real good. That all sounded real good. Like, no scar. Oh, no scar. Okay, surgery, no scar. I didn't care what they had to do, though. Because, like I said, I was in a whole lot of pain. So I'm like, I don't care if I never get my nipple back. Please just make this go away. So they brought me some pain meds. They brought me morphine. But if you've ever had morphine, you know that it worked, but it burned going in, and it don't last very long. So I'm like, look, I'm not trying to sound like one of those people that just be addicted. I'm like, y'all gonna have to give me something stronger than this, or I'm literally gonna hit this call light all night until y'all get tired of me. Because y'all, I'm in pain. This ain't no fake pain. Like, I couldn't lay on my side. I didn't even want to turn. Like, I had to do this. Because I was not trying to move this. This was not going nowhere. I had to, like, I laid in the bed. You know, before you have surgery, you can't really take no shower, no way. I wasn't finna get up and take no shower. I had a hot rag, wiping myself down, getting under there, making sure I was good. Go take a shower. No, not even afterwards. I was so scared to move. But the pain meds, they brought me something stronger. I don't remember what the name was. But that, honey, I couldn't remember if I was coming or going. That had to be on a scale of ibuprofen. This being ibuprofen. And this being epidural. Whatever drug they gave me was like right here. And morphine in the middle. So ibuprofen, morphine, whatever they gave me, epidural. I had no complaints. No complaints. No pain. But every time it wore off, when it wore off, you could hear me hollering down the hallway. It was that bad. Like, oh, it was just so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. And then it was ugly right after surgery. Now, I was crying because I'm like, oh, my titty ugly. You know, like I got 2 nipples. It look like I got one here and one on the side. I was crying, doing all that. But at the end of the day, I was happy that was over with. So I thought. Now, there was still milk in my breast. So it ended up happening again. Maybe about 6 months later, it happened again. And this one actually bust. So I'm at work on the side. It was on this side. No, it was on this side again. And it was like right up in here. So almost my armpit, but it's like right there in that area where your bra strap lay at. And my bra strap, like the part that's snapping the back, that little round part, it was rubbing against. Oh, something bit me in the face. Damn mosquitoes. Hate mosquitoes. Like, why would you bite me like that? That's ridiculous. Why would you bite me in my face like that? You could have got me anywhere private. I mean, my arm and anything. You went straight for the face. As if I don't have enough going on with my face. But anyways, my bra strap was rubbing up against the lump. So when it bust, of course I was bleeding, but I ain't gonna lie, it felt so good when it finally bust, because when I went to the nurse, when I went to the ER the second time, the lady told me, she said the most we can do is we have to catch it. So we can catch it, we can monitor it, and if it gets bad, we'll drain it. But it should resolve on its own. She said you don't want it to bust because it can be bad. Like the first, when I had to actually have surgery, if that would have bust, that would have been bad, because that was like my whole titty. But you know, this one was like this big. So when it bust, I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. It felt like, you know, when you hold your pee for a long time and you finally get to use the bathroom. It was that kind of relief. Like, I was so happy when it bust. But I was lucky. Now, it comes and it goes. I'm gonna Google that. Cause that don't even sound right. I still got my son 3 years old. Why is there still milk in my TV? I'm gonna come back to that. But you know, the nurse was asking me, and she was like, well, do you have like an infant? Are you breastfeeding? I'm like, no, which is why I don't know. Like, matter of fact, while we doing the ultrasound, could we check that too to make sure there's no surprises? Cause after I miscarried, I was like, I don't know why this is still happening, because there shouldn't even be milk in there anymore. Like, I wasn't that far along. There should be nothing in there. I'm gonna Google. I said I was gonna wait, but I just gotta know how long it take. How long does it take milk to dry up in breast? A few days, or up to several weeks or months. Which is it, Google? Well, Google said that you will know that your milk supply is drying up when your breast feels soft. But I should have just bind my breast or something, because there's no way. I should have still had milk in my breast. I don't know. That was just a mystery to me, because I'm sitting there talking to the doctor. So I'm like, so if it is mastitis, tell me why. Tell me why. Like, I shouldn't even have no milk. I can understand the first time because my son was still younger. You know, I was still pumping. So my breast was still making milk. But once that was a wrap, I'm like, yo, what's good? Like, do I have a baby on the way? Like, I went home talking to my baby daddy, like, look, cuz you gotta stay up off me, cuz I don't know what's going on. And I ain't trying to have another baby right now. Like, look, I can't do it. I just can't do it right now. It was traumatic. I want to show some pictures, but I gotta check the rules and regulations for YouTube again. I gotta check the community guidelines. Make sure that, you know, they're not gonna suspend my page. If you had a story like this, please comment below. Let me know. How did you deal with it? I want to know all the details. But make sure you like this video. Give me a thumbs up. Comment, because I like talking to y'all. And I promise I got more content coming soon. Love you guys. Good night.